Good morning everyone, good morning Mom Indi and my friends. I hope everyone watching this video is in good condition right now. Now I will presenting a journal about a case study of student participation in a speaking online class by Miss Indi Englistina, Miss Novita Al-Ihyagdiani and Miss Tevi Mega Mahardika, Language and Culture Faculty, University of 17 Agustus 1945 Semarang. This paper aims to reveal factors that affect the student participation in a speaking online class. The subjects are the second and fourth semester students of English Department, Language and Culture Faculty, Untak Semarang. The research was held during the event semester of the academic year 2020-2021. The next slide is I will presenting a journal about a case study of student participation in a speaking online class. Introduction. The current pandemic greatly affects the teaching and learning process in the speaking class. Online classes are the best option to simply solve these problems. But online class can also create other new problems. One of them is the lack of student participation in class, from internet problem to student gadget, which are the problem with the inhibition of the learning process in class. So now we come to the next point, which is the factor that makes student not confident to speaking in class. Number one is inadequate vocabulary knowledge. This is rare for some students when faced with a speaking class that requires them to speak. However, the limited grammar they have requires them to practice often and enrich themselves with a new vocabulary. Number two is grammar as a stumbling block. In speaking, sometimes students are also afraid to make pronunciation mistakes in their grammar. In fact, that it can certainly be understood because they are still practicing and mistakes are not bad thing. Number three is negative response from others. The feeling of being afraid of making mistakes in front of their friends and the people around them is also one of the obstacles in class. Number four is low self-esteem to speak in English. Feeling inferior from other friends who speaking skill except them. They don't need to compare themselves to others. Just keep practicing and build confidence. Number five is feeling anxious to speak in English. This can be reduced by practicing speaking in front of a mirror to get used to it, and owning our speaking skills so that we are also more confident in what we will talk about. Let's turn to the next issue about some problems faced by the learners in speaking activity. Number one is inhibition. Speaking requires some real-time exposure to audience. Commonly, learners are often inhibited from trying to say things in a foreign language, such as feeling worried about mistakes, fearful of other criticism, or ashamed of the attention that their speech attracts. Number two is lack of them to be spoken. Some learners get the difficulties in thinking of anything to say. They have less motivation to express themselves beyond the guilty feeling that they should be spoken. Number three is lack of participation. In a large group of people or in a certain situation that includes some people, such in the classroom, at least a person only who speaks while others are just the listeners dominantly. Number four is the use of mother tongue. The learners usually say something in the mother tongue. They may tend to use it for some reason, like it's easier, it feels unnatural to speak in a foreign language. Lastly, they feel less exposed if they are speaking their mother tongue. It can be quite difficult to keep using the target language. So, in order to solve the problem above, the student should practice as much as possible. Next slide is finding and discussion. Research findings. Number one is student contribution. Number two is student condition. Number three is internet issues. The next slide is To know the student contribution in the class discussion, from the data of 75% of the students always participate in class discussion, and 25% of the students sometimes participate in class discussion, and less than 75% student who always participate in class discussion. The other students want to participate if the lecturer asks them to speak. And the next slide is 50% of the respondents choose not to participate in speaking class because they were worried of making mistakes. And the other half of the respondents gave their answer under 3 different reasons as follows. 7.1% said they did not get a chance to participate. 3.6% or one respondent said that he or she did not like the lesson. And 39.3% say that they never skip to participate. The next slide is only 7.1% out of the 28 respondents have never had a problem related to the internet. The biggest number is shown that the issue came up sometimes for 42.9% out of the respondents. The second biggest number, that is 35.7%, that is the number of respondents who rarely have internet issue. The number of respondents who always have internet issue is 14.3%. And the next point is some respondents are very excited when they are in class and practice speaking English. Some of the respondents still feel that attending speaking class is difficult and even worse when pandemic spreads. And the final point is conclusion. Point A, internet issue is become the most issue. Internet problems are one of the obstacles to the smooth teaching and learning process in online class. This is also caused by the student house, which is difficult to reach by good signal. Point B is some students like to communicate offline rather than online. This can be explained because by talking offline, we can be face to face with the person we are talking to and pay attention to their gesture. Point C is all of the students have an interest in learning English. Although there are many problems faced and the obstacle, all of the students have an interest in learning English. Point D is self-confidence in speaking English is important. Many of them want to speak English, but problems such as being shy, not knowing what to say are the reason that building self-confidence for students is very important. Point A is the role of the lecturer is very important. The role of the teacher in the classroom is very important so that students become more active and enthusiastic. It can be by changing teaching and learning methods and presentation because student activity is needed there. That's all for me. I'm sorry if there is a misspelling of words, and I hope this information will be useful for all of us as a student of language and culture faculty, which require us to continue to practice speaking, reading, listening, and writing skills. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day. Thank you.